what is the need for us to share impact, and why is it so important that we share impact, and how do we build value to others? And so I put together some slides for us to look at and to see so that we can all be on the same page about this, which I think is going to be very important, which I really like about everything. So Ryan and I are very passionate about what this can do and how simple impact really is and transparent. You know, after 20 years of sharing essential services, it is a phenomenal opportunity to be able to do something that is so necessary. And here's the biggest thing I want everyone to realize is the out of control costs of healthcare is real. And families are looking at other alternative sources and even have to sometimes, use government aid to help because it's so expensive. And what we're seeing is that insurance in the last 10 years has gone up 47%. Now, for an average family like mine with 5 people, we're talking $1,800 to $2,400 a month just to have traditional healthcare. And if we don't have it, for years, we were given a lot of fees and extra fines if we didn't have it. So surveys were asked to the entire country, what is the most important factor when they consider healthcare plans? And it is about the monthly premiums. People can't do $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. And then to look at the copays and what they have to pay out of pocket after spending that monthly service. And so we have a solution. And so even though the truth is that, the truth is everyone's trying to lower their costs. And most people are generally healthy. And so what we have to look at is there's 51% of the people that what we're going to share is a good fit. It's just whether or not they're willing to look outside the box and see something different. So let me tell you some of the benefits for health share programs. Health sharing has been a solution for 30 years. The problem is it's been religious-based or group-based and very exclusive. They want to make sure that all the people in there follow the same rules, that have the same kind of lifestyle so that they're not spending things for, inappropriate behavior. What's neat about it though, because it's a privatized health group, it's disrupting the industry norm, kind of like Uber and Airbnb. Because of it, the monthly costs are extremely affordable, and Impact, which I'm going to be sharing with you, negotiates rates for medical and pharmacy services. So who's our ideal customer? So what we want to do is when we're talking and we're sharing this with people is we need to ask people questions. Who is ideal? Well, people who are not in groups, even individuals who have employment and are getting healthcare costs are seeing a large chunk come out of their checks. It's worth to review to see if we're a good fit. We're also looking for people whose companies don't provide them healthcare. Maybe they're gig workers or they're part-time, they're underinsured, or they have no insurance at all. So what separates Impact? So the reason why we're sharing this today is because Impact is really revolutionary in the sharing space. It is a way the way it manages its bills and the way that it's inclusive of all religions, all races, all ethnic, it doesn't matter. We're all about including everybody to help everybody share the burden of health expenses. But the best part about it is it feels like a traditional insurance, even though it's not insurance. And that's very important. This is not insurance. It's a privatized nonprofit. So what are some of the benefits that we can get from Impact Health Sharing? Well, first of all, it's affordable. That's the biggest thing. It's comprehensive medicine. This is not like Aflac or big exposures for certain kinds of disability. This is comprehensive. You can go and get your wellness visits, lab work, things that we need. Preventative care is included. There are no provider networks, which means everybody you visit can be covered. Free telemedicine and great pricing. Now I'm going to give a personal story about this because I've had traditional health insurance. I've had a ton of options and tried different things being self-employed. And what we found was it's very expensive. And then out of pocket after you paid your monthly became ridiculous. There was even a time where I refused to pay insurance because I was just so livid with the way that it worked out. And so here's what I want everyone to understand is that this is transparent. It tells you exactly like it is. So last weekend, I got an infection. I was very sick. Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to die. I got into our portal. I used the telemedicine. Someone called me within a minute and a half. And then after I described my symptoms, she had a pharmacy called in and it was ready in an hour. And here's what was so amazing about the whole thing. When we went to go pick up the prescription, I had another prescription from a different situation earlier that week that I just hadn't picked up. And our bill for the two medicines were going to be like $54 with GoodRx. And my husband's like, wait a minute, here's our impact card. I love our impact cards. Anyways, he said, here's our impact card. And our medicine went from 50 something or $60 down to $13 with taxes. And that just was amazing. And so they really have negotiated a good thing, and being able to call someone when you don't feel good, you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want to pay to go to a building. This is such great service. And so a lot of times people are asking, is it really going to be good service? Are we cutting our quality just because of the cost? And the answer is no. And I'm going to tell you that's very important. But the problem with our traditional way of thinking is we think it has to be a certain way. We're trying to disrupt that way of thinking because you don't even realize how difficult it is in the traditional setting and how expensive it really is until you see an alternative like this. I mean, I'm going to show the costs here that, of course, this is just generalized costs, but this is pretty incredible. So I want everyone to look and see what we're talking about here for families and individuals. So the top row that I'm going to share with you are what individual prices look like if you're 30, 40, 50. Then I have families with 3 members or more, 20-year-old families, 30-year-old families, 40-year-old families like me. I mean, $605 for a family of 5, and our out-of-pocket, or what's called your primary responsibility accountability, or what we know as a deductible, is only $2,500. Our co-share or co-pay is 10%, but it maxes out at $5,000 per calendar year. There is no open enrollment you have to wait for. You literally can start the next month, which is so incredible. And what's neat about this is that you can go through the guidelines and see all the things it's going to cover, just like normal insurance would. Let me give a little comparison here. So this is Blue Cross Blue Shield, deductible in network $4,000 to our $2,500. We've got an out-of-network deductible up to $16,000. Co-insurance 30% to our 10%, and it never stops, guys. You would have to keep paying 30% no matter what could happen. Out of pocket max in this situation would be $7,000 if everything was perfectly in network, but it doesn't work like that. If you had to go the ER with Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's $1,000. Our ER visit is $150. Now, let's hope none of us have to go to an ER. But if you went to your primary care through Impact, $50, $75 for a specialist or urgent care. And you can actually have the opportunity to go up and literally, apply what you're spending with your chiropractors, with your normal care towards your PRA. To enroll someone is very simple. We just go in and hit, we want to learn more. And then we use the oldest birthday of the member of the household. So in my case, I'm the oldest in our household, not by very few many months, but I'm still the oldest. And literally you will immediately get a result. And what's nice about this is it's so transparent. There's no gotchas here. And I think that that's really important, that as we share this with people and we help them see it, it's immediate. And I'll tell you, to get a price point or to see those numbers and those prices right away is amazing. I was talking to an individual yesterday. She's single. She was born in 1996. So she's, old enough to need health coverage, but her risk was anywhere from $220 a month down to $73 a month. That is ideal for someone who's healthy, who doesn't plan on having a lot of issues, who just wants to have a good wellness visit and covered for their girly stuff. I mean, you guys, this is a huge deal for people. So we're changing lives and we're changing perspectives, but we have to be willing to go talk to them. And then, of course, this is the key. And I'm going to end with this little bit right here is how much it feels like traditional health coverage. Everyone gets their insurance card and you literally hand it to your doctor, your chiropractor, your specialist. They contact Impact and Impact gets the bill first. We aren't out of pocket and then having to negotiate and wait and get refunded. We don't have to send checks to people to bill. Everything is transparent. And as we share from our monthly distribution, our primary distribution to the groups, you can see what you're sharing, which is so amazing. But the biggest thing is it feels like regular insurance, even though it's not. It's revolutionizing the way we do health coverage. But we have to be able to truly have an opportunity to share this with people. And our portal is so transparent as well. Your member account is phenomenal. The program is so simple and it's yours. Just so you guys know, this is not a contract. If someone decides to leave, they just need 60 days to let them know so that if there's any sharing responsibility that needs to happen, that's all it takes. And then they're released. And if there's any left over in their account, they can have their money back. Now that in itself is revolutionary. It's not going into a whole big pool where the stockbrokers are using it to on the stock market against it, and that money is making them more money. This is a nonprofit, non-insurance alternative choice that's privatized by hardworking entrepreneurs, independent contractors, and individuals who want to have a choice and an option. So that's really important. So let me share what it looks like. In our back office, our portal center, someone could come in here, click telemedicine. They can see their medical bills. They can check on any pharmaceutical needs that they might have. And literally I have put in, prescriptions that people have asked me, and they're like, yeah, I normally spend about 60, 70 bucks on it. And it's $4 through us. So it is really exciting how simple it is. Again, we have different terminologies in share programs, which we'll share with you and teach you all about. But the truth is that it's not different. It just has different words. And it really is a choice for all of us to be made. Now, income-wise, if someone wanted to be an affiliate or to become a referral partner with us, it is very, very simple as well. And the neat part about this is we are not getting wealthy at the expense of the masses at all. In fact, we're taking our regular conversations and we're offering a solution. Last night I was at the football game with my kids, with the high school kids and some of my parents. One of the parents is going to start working with us, and he's a lawyer. And he's it's funny because he's a bankruptcy lawyer for short sales and homes. Well, during the pandemic, there were no short sales because people just got to stay in their homes. And so he's now working with a new firm. He's excited because there's actually work happening. And we are going to set up an appointment to share Impact with his partners and all of their firms. They have 7 firms around the country to offer a solution. Because looking at what his wife gets with teaching, it's extremely expensive. And ours is a perfect option and a solution for all of these independent contractors. So again, who are you talking to and how simple can it be in these conversations? And the truth is very quickly, you could earn 20% of the referrals. And to become a person who refers and is a partner with us is very, very, very simple as well. So the biggest thing though, is we want to provide choices for individuals out there. So I know we've got a couple testimonials here and I would love for people to share. Kenny, if you're in a place where you can't, we'll start with Jen. Jen, you're in a place that you can talk first. Would you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background and why Impact as a customer has been so great? I'd love it. And then Carrie, I'm going to ask you to share after, if you don't mind too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for hosting this. This has been great. So my name is Jen. I'm here in DC and I'm a contractor. So that means I provide for all of my own benefits. And I have been generously donating to insurance companies for years. I'm relatively healthy. I'll go for, my womanly check or, maybe a random thing here and there. When I was like training for a marathon, I got my foot checked out, but I use it very rarely. And I, with Impact, have been able to save over 50% on my monthly premiums, or now it's PRA with our health sharing, but it's crazy how much money I'm able to save, and I'm actually getting more for what I'm paying for. So I do a little bit more of like the natural approach. So I do chiropractic and things like that. It was never included with my former insurance company. And so I'm just grateful that I'm paying less and I'm getting more and more of what I personally use. So I'm just excited to be able to share this with my friends and for them to be able to get the benefit too. Because why do we need to be donors? We can do something that really benefits us. So thanks for letting me share.
Jen, that was a perfect way of saying it. We don't need to be donated to the CPAs of these big companies, right? I love that. And the truth is, you guys, listen, for some people, traditional health insurance is the solution. It's correct for them. There's pre-existing conditions or situations that we can't always, recognize, or we can't control that's happened in our past. But even in our sharing program, they'll cover everything else. And it still is sometimes more affordable than not. And I'll answer a couple questions in a minute, but before we hear that, I want you to hear from Carrie. She and her husband are traditional business owners, and they have always been looking for different sources with 2 children that are growing strong with lots of personality. Carrie, why don't you go ahead and unmute and share with us, there you go, a little bit about your experience coming to Impact.
Sure. Well, my name is Carrie Bixel, and I am from the Ohio marketplace. And I was actually a teacher, and I stopped teaching, started my own preschool years ago, and boom, our insurance was cut off. And when you're a teacher, you have, pretty amazing insurance. So, we went with the traditional insurance, and if we would still be paying that today, we'd be paying over $2,000 a month. So we found 3 years ago, we did find a health sharing company, which in the moment we thought was great until Impact came along. Because what you had to do with that one, you had to pay out of pocket, and then it would take 3 or 4 months for them to negotiate and reimburse. So I had a kidney stone. It took $14,000 that we had to pay up front and didn't get reimbursed, until 3-4 months later. So it's a very hardship. With this, you have the amazing little card, just like an insurance card. You give it to the doctor, and we've already used it since June 1st a couple times, and it works absolutely amazing. They never ask us questions. They process it just like they would insurance. And another good thing is, from the other health sharing company, we're saving another $250 a month. So Impact, and like you said, the telehealth and as a prescription card, there's only pluses. I have not found anything negative from what we have used from the past 3 years.
I know. I'm just so glad to hear that from you guys too, Carrie, because I have kids just like you, and you got to go to the doctor with them. You know what I mean? And it's neat to know that there are other good sharing programs out there, but this just feels so much more normal, and the average person can't be out a bill of $14,000.
No.
That's why people are a little bit hesitant or scared, because of the traditional way of doing things. So this is really great, so that you could see the difference in the way other health sharings work, and they work.
Yeah.
They're just not as seamless as what we can offer with Impact, which is great. Awesome. Now, do I have any questions today? I would love to answer anything for what people might be asking you about the service. And the truth is, you guys, there's not a risk. The worst case scenario, they come to it and they start using it and they like it, or they use it and they decide it doesn't fit them. But I'm going to give you a little scenario. I have a really good friend. She owns a business. Her husband's a contractor. And 10 months ago, a tumor came back from when he was really young. And his current insurance, which happened to be what I had before I came to Impact, told him they would not cover any of the bill at all because it was a pre-existing condition. Well, in Impact, we have a 36-month pre-existing condition clause. So for Impact, they can't cover that entire situation with the tumor either. But here was what they said. They said to him, you can come to us, we'll cover everything else that you might have come up. But if you decide you need to have surgery in the next 36 months because of this tumor that's there, then we'll negotiate it down and make it something that can work for you guys. We'll do our very best to get you the best possible outcome for it. Now that's pretty amazing, because even though they wouldn't cover the sharing because it was pre-existing, they're going to do everything they can to get fair market value, which instead of being $100,000 is going to be closer to about $27,000. And again, that is something people can, stomach if it's going to save their life versus, the other. So I want you guys to know that they really do work with our clients. And if you have a concern, you can talk to them. You can set up time and enroll. After you enroll, you can talk to them all you want. It's fantastic. They're very transparent, which is very good. All right. Any other questions? The guidelines are a perfect way to find the answers as well. But any other questions that have been coming up for people? Nope. All right. Okay, Kevin, I like that. Thank you for having your camera on. I've got about 6 of you who have cameras, and I love it. Cameras are good. Thank you, Molly, you pretty girl. Appreciate it. Okay. Mary, why do you keep doing that? I keep putting her two names together. I love her last name, Mullen, and I'm putting her name together. Mary, I apologize. Forgive me. All right. So here's what I'm going to give everyone a challenge. The challenge is to invite 5 people to get what a quote would be for them. Doesn't matter. Don't even worry about who they have for healthcare, whether they have it or not. I want you to practice. I want you to practice on your online store, getting a quote, sending to someone, and then setting up a time to talk to them and go through it. We want to get good at talking about this, you guys, because everybody by the end of September should have 10 impact accounts at the very minimum in our group. That's how it should look. So that should be our goal in the next 6, this is 6 weeks to have 10 at the minimum, because you're going to be able to then have stories. Because if you get 10, that means you talk to 20 or 30 people, and you'll be able to have stories that will go with, this was a good fit, but they had a pre-existing condition, or this was a concern and impact resolved the concern. This was this, and this is this. But if we don't make a goal to get those accounts, then we're not going to have the experience to talk. All right, Kenny, you had a good example for you as well. Would you like to share it with us?
Absolutely. It's been really fun, because when I looked at it, it was $150 savings a month, and I'm a retired school teacher, and I went down from $10,000 deductible to $2,500 deductible. So I'm like, well, that's cool. Plus, in addition to that, we get the 20% residuals, so a lot more in that sharing. So, I'm really excited. And I'm kind of like Carrie. I'm not a sick person, so I haven't used it physically yet, but I love all the testimonials that I can share with others that have used it, that can say, hey, it works when you need it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, Ryan and I are going to go and have preventative care done, because we're in our 40s. And so there's something you have to do when you're in your 40s for preventative. And I'm excited because our co-share of 10% and covering everything, like, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be so inexpensive to know that we're healthy and well. And I think that peace of mind is really good.
There's one question that I've had from a couple of people when I've talked to them about this, and I think they addressed it in Cleveland, but I would love to hear you share about it. So one person said, we don't guarantee that it's going to be shared, or like, we don't guarantee that. Did you? And I apologize, I'm coming from work, so I don't know if you covered that already in the presentation.
No, I haven't. That's a really great question. So in health sharing, we have guidelines and standards that we live by. Impact Health uses ethic-based guidelines, love thy neighbor. But it also means that we expect our members to not break the law and to follow those guidelines, or we all agree to live a semi-healthy lifestyle, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that people aren't going to drink and smoke and do those things, and that's fine. There's provisions that work out those situations. But if we decided that we wanted to use, recreational drugs for fun, and then something happens, like we fall off a ladder and break our arm because we were having a little too much fun at the clubs, then guess what happens? Impact can say, this behavior, because it's documented in a police report, isn't going to be shareable this time because you were under the influence of these narcotics that are not legal. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? So they have the right to protect our money against poor decisions by people. Now, at the same time, there's a few other things that as an ethic-based company, they don't want. For example, they do not cover abortion. So that's something that if someone wanted to have that procedure, that would be something they would have to go through an alternative choice. Now, again, so those are the kind of illegal activity, or maybe in our sense, because we love our neighbor, that activity is not the one that we would cover, share. We call it sharing. So it's not called cover, it's called share. I can put up the words difference one more time. Let me show you guys, just so we see those words so we know that they have the same meaning, even though they're different words. So for example, deductible is primary responsibility amount. Cover or coverageable is eligible for sharing. We don't have insurance claims. We have bills or medical bills. Guaranteed. Now, here's what's so interesting. Even on traditional insurance, they will not guarantee coverage. We heard it about my friend who had the tumor. They're not guaranteeing it. They're not covering him at all. They're saying it's pre-existing. At least in our scenario, if he goes 3 years without any incidences, no issues with his tumor, and it got worse or came back in 5 years from now, they would share those expenses. So again, it's very different on that. Now we do a provider fee, oh, that was supposed to be fee, not free. I did a little typo there, I'll fix it. Versus a copay. Things are denied or they're not qualified for membership, like illegal drug use, monthly premium versus monthly share. A lot of times we say our insurance, in ours, we say impact sharing offers these things for us. Explanation of benefits or EOBs versus explanation of sharing. We don't have policies, we have programs, and we have a facility sharing, not a money pool. And we don't do riders, we have conditions of ineligible sharing. So traditional insurance will use riders to get out of paying for things. And we would just look and see, does it follow the guidelines? So sometimes people have things that are not shareable because they were already in a condition when they come to impact, but that's okay. A brand new baby gets covered immediately when they're born as well, which is really nice. Yes, Miss Martha, question.
Oh, no. I just wanted to make a little comment.
Yes.
So I listened to a few trainings, and these trainings said a couple things about what you're saying. So I just wanted to just throw them in.
Yes, please clarify anything. I'd love it.
The negotiate, even if they were using illegal drugs or, then they'll still negotiate the price. They won't pay it, they won't share it and cover it, but they'll still negotiate for you if you want them to.
Yes.
And I thought that was really powerful. And the other thing, Jen, when I have heard this asked before, they say that they can't say that it's guaranteed because it's, how do I say this? When we click that we'll share our funds, it's our own choice or our own will.
That's
And
right.
so they can't say it's guaranteed because they can't force people to click and say, yes, we'll participate in this share.
That's right.
And so they have to use that wording to protect that you're not forcing people to share.
Mom, that's a really good thing. Now, to clarify too, though, we don't actually have to click once we're members, we're basically saying we're sharing with everybody, just so everyone knows. You don't have to manually go click and accept shares, but you get to see what things are, and you can choose to have what your medical things shared, or like what people know happened. Like if I broke my arm, or if, our family's going through a tough time, you can share those. And we have a great community in our group to look at those things too. So it's very good for that too.
That's good to hear that, because obviously I haven't experienced that yet, because I thought that they let you know who you're sharing with.
Yes, you see who you're sharing with, but you're basically, when you become a member, you're acquiescing. I can't say the word right.
You're
basically
agreeing.
Yeah, you're agreeing that you're just sharing.
Okay.
Now, if something came up and then you were like, I'm not sure about this, you could say, I don't want to share on that note, but I think if you did that too many
Really?
times, they'd say, well, then you're not following the guidelines because we're all sharing, just to, so I mean, I just can't imagine us not wanting to share. Here's what I look at it like. I might not have an issue now, but I might have an issue 6 years from now. So I don't mind sharing now to know that I'll be covered later. Does that make sense to everybody? And that's where the love thy neighbor comes in. And this idea of community is really incredible for that too. We really need to build that there is a need for what we're offering. We are disrupting the industry, and it's worth seeing that there are choices. It's worth seeing there's choices. Build the value. We want everyone to hit their goal of 10 impact customers by September 30th when we're all together in Florida. We want everybody to have 10 by Florida, because that is going to change the dynamics of how we all feel about this. And we're all going to have a ton of testimonials to video and record and to get us really rocking and rolling. People coming out of the woodwork excited about sharing this with people. So let's get out there talking and doing it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful Saturday and weekend. I appreciate you all.